How's it, guys? I'm back again. This time I'll be reviewing, unboxing and testing this Pioneer 4 channel. It's the GM-E7004 bridgeable 4 channel amp, and we'll just see how this baby performs. Okay, the actual test that I'll be doing, I'll be using these 3 meters. Okay, the first one is this oscope. Okay, like I use it on the power base basically review and test. I may or may not use this one, just maybe to connect to the actual battery, just to monitor voltage. I don't really need it, but I'll see. I might connect it and see. And then this is a little bad boy. Okay, so this one here is to measure the amperage from the source of power, which is the battery, all the way to the amp, so in between. So you want to measure whatever I get a reading. I actually just put this over the wire, just clamp it around the wire, or it wraps around the wire, and then you actually get a reading of how much power you're actually drawing from the battery, from the source, to the amp at the same time, while the amp is actually producing X amount of wattages. Okay, so these are the 3 that I'll be using to conduct my test and see. Okay, so as you can see, this is basically a brand new amplifier that I bought. I've got 2 of these babies. The other one's already basically open, but I'm going to use this one as the actual demo itself. So as you can see, what you get is you get your little brochures, you get the owner's manual, and then all this other information in that, and then you get the connections with screws. This is the option of using the actual the amp and the speakers to switch on the amp, and to actually get the signal into the amplifier itself, instead of actually using a, like they call it, the bass knob, which also like switches on and off, or the actual remote, you can say, the volume remote. Okay, but I'll just call it the bass knob, okay, because that also switches on and off. And obviously you bypass your RCAs with this type of connection. Okay, so the actual amp itself, if the light goes on and off, sorry guys, it's that LED, like I said. Just bear in mind with me. Okay, so as you can see, it's quite a solid manufactured amplifier. It's heavier, it's got more weight than the power base. Okay, so obviously there's more complex components here compared to the power base itself. If you look at the side of the power, your terminals and that, you get your remote, you get the ground, 12 volt, you get the same as a power base, which is a 225 amp fuses, and then you get your channels. Okay, with the Pioneer, it works on this side and that side, so it's not up and down. Okay, so how you bridge it is from here to there, and from here to there. That's your bridge, as you can see it with the diagram. It's rated at let's just see here if you can see it. Was on the other side. Oh, there we go. Okay, it's on the other side of your gain settings and that. Okay, so it's rated at 70 watts RMS output power times 4, and then obviously there's a connection for that wire that came with it, the speaker input. Okay, and channel A, channel B, your crossovers, okay, your settings for LPF and all that stuff. And interesting enough, it actually starts from 32 Hertz compared to the power base of 40. Okay, that's basically like you can say the starting point. Then from there it starts to slope on its own. There's another power base amp, the 4-channel. It's actually at 50, but the amount of power you get out of that, it compensates for that, so they can actually be able to play those frequencies. I mean, 32 is not bad. 32 is very good. You'll be able to hit your lows very, very well with this bad boy here. Okay, so now comes time to connect, and then after that, the actual testing. So what I've done is I've connected the voltmeter to the battery. As you can see, it's 12.2 volts. So I'm going to basically connect the oscilloscope, and I'm going to just do the amperage as well, just to see the draw from the battery to the amp. So I'm expecting very good results in this. Besides, this is Pioneer. Okay, Pioneer, it might not be the best of the best, but it's well up there in terms of quality and that. And I mean, from the word go, they would actually tell you more or less that looks more or less right according to the fuse ratings that you've got there. They're not ashamed to actually put that on. So, you know, with confidence, they'll tell you that this thing can produce 70 watts. Unlike some other brands that will just inflate, and then you'll be all excited, and then it's not really pushing that. Okay, so I'm gonna do the test. Sorry about the light. Like I said, it keeps cutting sometimes. So I'll be conducting the test and seeing what readings I'll be getting out of this. So yep, just hang tight. Let me just connect the oscilloscope and then run the tone, and then yeah, we'll do the test now. Okay, so I've set it up now for the bass test on one of the channels there. So I'll be using this side of the channel. So I've set it at LPF, which is over there. Okay, so you won't be able to see now. The bass boost is off, and obviously now I set it at max. So the max here is 320 hertz, and then basically it will start to slope off and down, so I'll be getting maximum output and reading from this. Now the interesting thing is, unlike the power bass here, the idea of not using bass boost stands. Okay, with these type of amps, there's no need for bass boost. What I will do anyway, I'll just do the reading with bass boost, just to show what it can do, and you'll see on the oscilloscope that what it actually produces. But with these ones, there's no need for bass boost, unlike the power bass. So I've already set it with a 50 hertz tone. So now I get the oscilloscope quickly. I don't know if you'll be able to see. Okay, let me just move the camera a bit forward. Okay, so now I'll be slowly adjusting the gain. Okay, now bear in mind, this is just for the channel side, right? Okay, so I'll be adjusting the gain now. As you can see, it's got 14 volts, 15, 17, 19, 20. Okay, let's see if I can get a proper picture here. Okay, 24. That's the max. Okay, I just want to get a proper picture. Okay, the max of this. Ooh, as you can see, that's a very, very ugly clip. Far worse than the power bass. But that's the max that this can produce on a channel, which is now 25.3. Okay, or 25.23, sorry. So let's make a note of that. Yes, granted, it'll be loud. It'll be extremely loud, but that tells you that the actual clipping, getting that type of a hard clip, not worth it for your speakers, not worth it at all. It's heat. It's going to produce a lot of heat. It's like I say, it's just not worth it. Okay, so now I'm going to adjust it to where you can get a clean signal. Okay, so that's 25 volts. That's on the bass side without the bass boost. Okay, it's off. So now I will then slowly adjust it until I get a clean wave. Okay, I just adjust it again. Okay, so more or less clean. You're getting it's about 17 volts. Yeah, I see. When I go to 18, it starts to clip. So around about 17.9. 17.9 is just that soft clip. Okay, so 17.9 is the cleanest I can get out of this amp. Okay, so I'm gonna make a note of that. 17.9 volts clean. Okay, and now I will be doing the 1000 hertz test. Okay, so I won't be adjusting. No, actually I have to adjust. I have to redo everything. So what I'll do is I'm just gonna switch off the camera for now, and then I'll just come back with the 1000 hertz playing. Okay, so now I am going to do the 1000 hertz test, and I actually forgot to connect that that thing to measure the amps. I will be doing that now before I move over to the bass side of things. So now with 1000 hertz, I already adjusted it back to 32. So from 32 hertz all the way up is maximum. Okay, the gain is already off. So now, as you can see there, the 1000 hertz is playing. So this one will be a bit tricky to see, but it's going to be more or less, you get an idea of your clipping. So I'm going to go all the way to the max. Okay, I'm sure that's clipping very that's 23 volts, and I mean that other one was 25 volts. So I can more or less guarantee clipping on this. So I think to play it safe. And you notice the difference between the power bass and that other one. Remember what I mentioned about the bass boost? Look at that, that's not that far off, huh? It's not that far off. So the bass boost only boosts that certain amount of frequencies with 50 hertz, 45, 60 maybe. But I think, according to what I see there, I would say that 17 to 16 would be clean. As I stated, it's going to be a bit difficult to see because it's with the highs. Okay, so that's what I would reckon would be clean, keeping it at 17 or 16 to be on the safe side. Okay, now I will be doing the amp draw test. So I'll be going back to my 50 hertz tone, reset it again to LPF, and then I'll be back. Okay, so this is now that 50 hertz back to 25 volts. As you can see, ugly hard clipping. That's destruction to your speakers right there. Okay, so I'm gonna connect the amperage just to read how much current draw I'm getting from this. Okay, so let's open up here. And then obviously you can just, obviously you're using Ohm's law, and just to see how accurate is that. Okay, as you can see, there's it on. I don't know if the screen is quite dark, it's not very bright. So Okay, so what I'm getting, okay, let me just, okay, with the radio and the amp, it's giving me 2.09 amps. Okay, I don't know if you can see that. Let me just zoom in. Okay, I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, it's 2.03. But if I just do the amp itself, it's giving me 1.3, and that's a 20, that full clip 25 volts. That's how much I'm drawing from the battery to the actual amplifier. So I'm just gonna make a note of that. Okay, so now I'll be adjusting it back to where it's actually clean, and we'll just see how much that actually draws. Okay, so okay, I'm at 17 volts. It's just to see what reading I'm getting actually. So now both of them together, it's more or less the same. It's more or less the same. Okay, with the radio and the amp, it's 2.1, and it's basically the same. So it's just enough to basically keep your capacitors and all the other goodies basically fully functional. Remember, obviously there's no load, so if there's a load, maybe that might change a little bit, but this is just to give you an idea of how much you're actually drawing. So now I'll be going to the 1000 watts. Actually there's no need because it's about the same voltage. It will give me the same reading. So now I'll be doing the actual bridge side of this amp. Okay, right, so now I'll be testing the actual bridged side of the amp. I've already bridged it, that side there. No need to do any adjustments here because I've already done it when I was doing the current for bass wise, so it's already at on LPF. So now what I'll be doing is, it's already at the max volume on the radio before clipping. So now, as you can really see, 3 volts without nothing actually really happening. So now are we going to full just to see what I'm getting. Okay, 50 volts. Okay, so 50 volts, extremely hard clipping. Again, one of those things I would say bye bye amplifier, oh no, sorry, bye bye subwoofer, because that's dangerous. That, so let me just say breached. Okay, so instead of now going up and down with this thing, I'll be doing the current measurement now as well. So that, along with the radio, is same 2 amps. Okay, and let's just see, it's the same amount of amperage draw. So I think that's good enough just to power the amp. But like I said, once you apply a load or speaker, it might change, but it's not going to change that much as well. So now what I was doing is I'll be going to where it's a clean signal, just to see what you get clean out of this thing. Okay, what I can get away with is 34.2 volts. I don't know if you can see that. 34.2 is what you can get away with. Okay, that's a clean. Okay, so 34.2 clean. Okay, now it's just to take those values and go on Ohm's law, and then actually seeing what this thing can actually push, basically what it does, and what they state here isn't what it does. And obviously knowing the shortcut, the two fuses times 14.4 times 13 times 12 volts gives an indication of what the amp can actually do. So let me just get the Ohm's law and I'll be back. Okay, so I just got the brochure here, the user manual, and as you can see what they state here, 70 watts times 2 at 4 ohms at 14.1 volts. Obviously tell the frequency response 20 hertz up. 95 watts times 2 at 2 ohms at 14.1, and then bridged 4 ohms, you're getting 190 watts. So that's the response of that. So now we just see, and with what we found, and bear in mind this is obviously not 12 volts, but it's more or less gonna work out the same in terms of if you go to 14 volts, wherever I set it at the cleanest, it might start going into clipping. So the indication you're getting here already, even if it's 12 volts, it's right, you know. So we'll just be working that out now and just see. So let me just get the app quickly. Okay, so now I've got the app here. So we want the power, so I've got voltage, and obviously I know my resistance I'm connecting, so it's only 2 ohms and 4 ohms. Okay, so we start off with the first value, hard clip, or the channel. The voltage was 25.3. If I say, for argument's sake, I connect that at 4 ohms, that's the amount of power I'm getting, but it's useless because it's clipped. Okay, so let's just say now if I say I get it at 2 ohms, that's going to be quite something, 320 watts of power, but useless because it's clipped. Okay, and more heat than anything is going to be produced at that voltage. Now clean wise, it was 17. Okay, I'm gonna make it 17 volts, 17 point something, but I'm gonna make it 17 volts. Let's start off at 4 ohms. Okay, so at 4 ohms, my look at that, 72.25. What do they state this thing can actually push? 70 watts. Okay, that's what they state. It's pretty accurate, and obviously at 2 ohms is going to be a bit more, 144 watts of power. Okay, now I will go to the bridged side now for the subwoofer now. So I just want to get that value. It was 50, it was about 50 volts. Okay, so at 4 ohms, sheesh, it's impressive, 625 watts of power, but again useless because hot clip producing nothing but heat. Your subwoofer will just not cut it. Okay, I think my LED light is basically the power, the battery is flat. Okay, so now I will be going to if now where it doesn't clip, which is 34.2. 34.2 gives me 292 watts of power. That is decent. That is very decent. I'm very impressed with this. So yeah, that's the findings of this. Okay, so I'll be giving you my verdict right after this. Okay, so the verdict between these two amps, it's a bit difficult and tricky. I would say, look, both of them are okay in their own right, but one would be a better choice over the other depending on your application as well. Okay, let's start off with okay, this one's obviously a class AB amp. Let's just read up on what a class AB is, what type of amp this is. And this, chances are, is a digital. I think this one's a digital. Class AB amps are quite very well balanced in terms of quality. So yeah, you'll get what your money's worth out of this amp. This one here, like I said with the previous video, it's a small amp and it's pushing 300 watts. You know, I mean, what would push that amount of power at an expense of what? You see, so you put in something, an expense for what? But as I've stated, is I've used this in my car, and I'm currently using another one for my home theater setup. So it's not a bad amp, but I do know that there is a difference because I have also connected this to my home theater. It's just that now this one's a bit bigger and this one's smaller, so space wise. So it all depends on the application. Last time I checked, these two amps were basically identical in price, maybe like a 50 rand difference between the two of them last time I checked. Then all of a sudden the Pioneer went up. It went up to about 2,200. This one still remained at that price of 1.5 or so. Okay, when you look at that, if they were both the same price, I would automatically go for this one if I've got the space and all that stuff. But now the price changing, and that changes the ball game. You might then consider this one, let's say for argument's sake, just to run your tweeters and your mids. I don't know how this one performs in terms of the sub yet. I'm still going to connect it and see. This one I have connected to the sub. I've connected it with a previous build you might have seen on my other video with a Nissan Almera build. This is the exact same amplifier that I've used in that build, and it plays fine. It pushes it. It really pushes it. And I didn't set it at max. I wanted to balance out with factory speakers as well. So I was also opting for more quality on this one here. But as you can see, it can go up to about 290 watts. So so like I said, it's difficult, man. It all depends on the application. But according to price now, I mean 1.5 and 2.1 or 2.2, yeah, then I would go for this one. But if I'm going to connect my subwoofer to this build and that, I would feel more comfortable with this one. So I might as well cough up the difference of 800 rand. Quality wise, obviously this one is better than that one. Sound quality, there's no comparison between the two. This one is clearer in sound. Also, what I've noticed when I did the test is this one got warm, this one nothing at all. So it's just one of those things you have to weigh and see. But yeah, I'll leave that to you guys, how to assess and what. But both amps, like I say, they got their pros and cons. So it all depends on the application, guys. So yep, that's it. I will leave basically a description of the findings at the end of this video, so you can just kindly have a look at it and see. and then you'll just decide from there. If you had a choice between these two amps, you look at the price, you look at the two videos, you go in with more knowledge, and you know what setup you've got, what you want to run, what you need, and all that stuff, and then you make a sound, clear decision based on these facts. Okay, Noob Master out.